So students could definitely be a lot of different things, and unfortunately they could definitely be cruel to one another.
Your gender is valid no matter what you identify as, and nobody can take that away from you.
From a young age, he always knew he was different, but he didn't have the words to describe it.
The person who rats out the bully isn't a bad person, actually. They're just doing the right thing, being an upstander.
When you shared it, did you see it as racist or offensive to anybody?
Now we have students who are truly social media natives, not just digital natives.
I had no one to talk to, like I had no friends, and I felt like isolated.
They were just pounding headaches, almost like migraines.
When parents talk to their kids about things that are important, then kids listen, even though it doesn't seem like it.
In schools all across this country, educators are seeing a dramatic rise in bullying. New York City schools report that cyberbullying has increased a whopping 351% in just 2 years. I'm Diana Williams, and in the next half hour, we'll show you how schools are creating anti-bullying clubs and setting up peer mediations and other programs. We'll also explore the impact of concussions and the one thing that can delay recovery. But first, when you're a kid, being different in any way is tough. One young transgender man tells us that his problems began when he was just 3 or 4 years old.
I think I was in preschool, and I was playing with my neighbors in his house, and I saw him, peeing, doing his business, and I realized at that moment that I became super confused because he had different genitals than I did. I thought that I was a boy. Like, I genuinely just thought that I was like a male. I was one of the guys, whatever.
Some people experience gender dysphoria from a very young age, 3 or 4, which is when children typically develop a sense of what gender is. A recent study showed that age 8 was the average age of awareness of a transgender identity. Matt, from a young age, he always knew he was different, but he didn't have the words to describe it.
So then I came across a YouTuber on YouTube who came out as trans to his followers. And I was like, what is that? Because I didn't know. I was like 13, 14 at the time, and I realized that was exactly how I was feeling. So it was kind of like a mind blown moment, and I was like, okay, this is me. I started layering my clothes and like buying more masculine stuff, and I felt a lot happier. So I was like, okay, I want to get my hair cut, because I had like really long hair. I came out to my friends first, and they were super accepting. My parents were not happy about it. And they're like, or more on the conservative religious side of things. So they thought that I was like severely mentally ill.
The most important thing we can do when working with transgender youth is work with their parents. Family, we have a lot of data to tell us at this point that family rejection is the #1 predictor of all of the negative outcomes associated with being transgender.
I didn't know what to do because like these are my parents, they're rejecting me for something that took so long for me to form into words and to like express to them. And so it was like that for a year and a half until I finally agreed to see a gender therapist.
When his parents brought him to me, they were in a pretty accepting place. They had already helped him get his name changed legally. Matt was initially put on puberty blockers. And what that does is it stops any further progression of the typical puberty from happening. That is something that will put a young person at ease.
So things are a lot better now. Like, they're supportive of my hormone replacement therapy. They were supportive in me getting top surgery, and they've got my back pretty much now.
At the Adolescent Health Center, we see a large number of rejected youth. Because we are a barrier-free center, we allow young people to come without their parents and without insurance or paying. And we have about 350 transgender, gender nonconforming youth that we've worked with in the past few years. We have medical care, which includes primary health care, reproductive care, hormone therapy for those who are transitioning, and then we also have mental health care.
I didn't know how to express myself verbally.
Matt soon created his own YouTube channel.
Because they made me feel less alone when I felt alone, and so I wanted to do that for other people.
Social media for transgender youth has a lot of upsides and a lot of downsides. It affords a sense of safety, a sense of anonymity. However, that same anonymity and almost safety, protection from consequences, allows people to say pretty hateful or hurtful things online.
I would get a lot of derogatory terms thrown at me. I would get told that I should kill myself. I would get told that people are gonna find me on the street and like murder me for being myself. It caused me so much anxiety because I was like, oh God, these people want to actually harm me.
Matt's a great young man. He knows what he wants, will go after it when he can. There's also another side. He had a very long history of psychiatric issues from a young age, with pretty severe outbursts and aggression and a lot of suicidal thinking. He had also endured a fair bit of bullying at school related both to his gender presentation and just other things.
From 9th to 10th grade, I was self-harming in terms of starving myself. I felt like I didn't deserve to have food, and I was on and off like cutting for self-harm because I hated how my chest looked. So I would try and like cause harm to it because I really just did not want it there. I left school in my junior year of high school.
The attempted suicide rate for transgender adults is about 44%. The polls of teenagers and children are up to 50%. The rates are very high. There is a disproportionate rate of depression, of anxiety, of family rejection, homelessness, self-injury, drug use. There's just a tremendous amount of stress and adversity that these young people face.
I was trying so hard to be validated for who I was trying to be seen as.
A lot of our youth report to us not even going to a regular doctor because they feel they won't be treated with respect.
The advice that I would give to parents of transgender kids is to listen to your child and just be open-minded, because gender is a spectrum and it's not just black and white. Like, it's a rainbow of like everything. As cheesy as it sounds, it does get better. Eventually you're going to mold your body into the way that your mind sees as it is. Remind yourself that no matter who you are on the outside, it does not affect who you are on the inside.
And this wise young man has some advice for bullies.
Just because you don't understand something does not give you the right to hate on someone for it, especially if it's something that the person is born with or cannot help for whatever reason. Educate yourself.
I think that this is really a social justice issue. This is an issue of equality. This is an issue of people who have been in the margins for so many years, and that mainstream medical and mental health providers have an opportunity to make a huge difference.
Focus more on the positives and surround yourself with people who support you. It's okay to stand up for yourself. If you feel invalidated, it's okay for you to speak out against what you see as unjust.
Matt is working on getting his GED, and he's going to acting school. We'll be right back with an anti-bullying club on Long Island and what it means to be an upstander.
This presentation of Protect Our Children, Bullying in CYBERTECH has been sponsored by your Tri-State Ford dealers. Visit buyfordnow.com.